It's Auto In with your hosts, Seth Kelly and Will Moulton, with special guest, Rodrigo Reyes. In this episode, what is a production assistant? Is it a difficult job? And what do the hosts do for DBU's broadcast department? Without further ado, Auto In.
Welcome everybody to Auto In. We are here. We're alive. My name is Seth Kelly. I'm also alive, and today our other alive host is
Garrett Walder.
Yes, Garrett Walder is with us today. He's doing his best Will Moulton impression.
Yes, I'm Garrett Walder. Yu-Gi-Oh! Go. There you go. Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yu-Gi-Oh?
Something about Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't know.
I don't know, some kind of anime. Every time, so I think it's Danganronpa, but every time he talks about
Danganronpa, yeah.
Every time he talks about it, we need to cut it out of the podcast just because, cut it for time or something. It has nothing to do with Danganronpa.
Just wants to get it out there.
Yeah, once it cannot be released to the public. Garrett talking about Danganronpa. So our guest today is
Rodrigo Reyes, and I am alive as well. I think so, at least.
And if you don't roll the R's, you're not getting his name right. If you don't roll the R's. Rodrigo Reyes.
I cannot say his name
try
because
it.
I cannot roll my R's.
Just try it. Rodrigo Reyes. Come on, Will.
Thank you for putting your best attempt out.
Nah.
All right, so let's answer the question, what do the three of us have in common?
We are production assistants.
Yes.
Well, don't give him the answer, guys. That was a question.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
rhetorical. It was rhetorical.
It was
Sorry.
rhetorical.
Yeah, they were supposed to think about it and really deeply. And
We're going to give you a second to think about it.
Ding, 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 ding.
And the right answer is...
We're all production assistants.
Whoa!
Wow,
Who knew?
crazy. Okay, so what is a production assistant? Rodrigo, take it away.
Good question. I question that myself most of the times, but I believe a production assistant is just putting everything together. Whatever needs to be done, we get it done. Setting up cameras, audio, replays, whatever needs to be done to stream something or to record something, we are there.
Yeah. To kind of clarify, this is not a position that we work during the game. We've gone through all those, like, this isn't director or replay operator or camera operator or anything like that. This is something that student workers do when they come into work, especially when they're newer, in their first couple years or even in their first 4 years.
Days.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But that's what we're doing when we're coming into work, is we're being a production assistant, which means that we are doing a whole lot of things. Like, we're kind of getting a feel for what we are good at.
Indeed. Kind of behind the scenes.
Yes.
Us.
Yeah, we're a lot of the time not, front and center. We are coming into work on days that games are not going on. Volunteers will often only see us during games, but there's kind of this whole world outside of games that senior producers and production assistants operate under. So we are, we're doing whatever the senior producers and whatever Chris tells us to do, which involves running cameras or oftentimes training, like learning how to use the X32. We have to go through Dante training, which is trying to understand, being taught how the network works and how we broadcast everything on a fundamental level, how we broadcast everything out to the world from these, fancy cables that we have going around. Like, some are yellow, some are gray, but what does all of that mean? What do each of them do? What do the ends represent? And some of them we've gone into on this podcast. We've discussed the difference between XLR cables and SDI cables. As a quick review, XLR cables run audio, whether input or output, which means mics or speakers. And SDI cables run both video and audio. And so those are the ones that we actually stick both into our cameras, but SDI will work with both video and audio, and XLRs will work with just audio.
Indeed.
And but yeah, anyway, that's a whole nother discussion. So being a production assistant, like, we can drag it out for 20 minutes, but it's honestly pretty simple. being a production assistant, you are in a position where you're learning a lot, and you're kind of getting a feel for what you are good at. And also the people above you, the senior producers and Chris, are also getting a good feel for what you're good at, so they can know where you can improve and what you can do for them in the meantime on your own while they go work with other production assistants. Where do you guys think you've kind of developed strengths in? What areas do you think you've developed strengths in as a production assistant as you've worked this job?
Well, like throughout the couple of years I've been here, I still have a lot to learn, like pretty much where the cables go or where does it turn on and what happens if I unplug this or turn on this. I'm still working on that. I mean, I get the hang of it, but still pending. But all of that, I think camera, I run pretty good camera. I can set it up, tear it down, fix it in case it needs fixing. So yeah, I think there, and replay. Yeah, I think replay is also where I get the hang of it, and it's fun. I enjoy doing replay. It could be interesting and also keeps you, on your toes at all times.
Yeah.
Like to have it ready within seconds, and to look at 4 or 5 different camera shots to pick one. So I really enjoy doing replay. Still need to work in like A through B and back to B and A and all that, but still it's a fun part of the job.
Yeah. You're a go-to camera 3 person. I think we can all agree that you and Harrison, I think, are our big go-to, camera 3 people.
Yeah.
Have you been stung by the wasps near camera 3 yet?
I have never.
Or the bees?
Been. I think it's wasps. I think it's wasps back there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I've never seen bees. But no. I mean, when we were up in the lift, I've seen a handful that will just fly on the camera, and they will just chill sometimes on the lens. Like, people actually be like, is that a wasp? I'm like, yeah, it's just chilling on the lens. But I'm not going to mess with it, Don't take me for a while. Sometimes they'll just chill on your shoulder or fly around. But I've never been stung by any of the wasp at any point in time that I've run camera all this time. So I'm kind of glad. I mean, I've been stung by wasps before. It's not fun. But it was never here. It is painful. Like, I remember when I got stung, I was like, what is happening? I didn't know what was happening. I just started running, and I took my shirt off. And I was like, why does it hurt so much? Like, I actually thought I was getting, like, stabbed on the back. Like, somebody just broke in and decided just to stab me on the back. And then, as soon as I took my shirt off, I turned around just to fight someone, because I actually thought that somebody was on my back. And I just see a bunch of wasps just flying around. I'm like, oh, my goodness. So that was
a
not
bunch
fun.
of wasps coming together to form the form of a person, so that you thought that they were stabbing you.
Maybe that's what had happened. But yeah, I didn't see it. So the nest was like on the corner of the door. So as soon as I stepped out the garden, to the backyard, they just got me. But no, fortunately here, it's never happened. I don't think it's happened to anyone that I know of.
I haven't heard of it.
Yeah, if you don't mess with them, they don't mess with you. But actually, at the beginning of this season, well, not this season, the beginning of just us coming back, since we haven't been back there, since March, maybe?
On the lift?
Yeah, like even back there at all, like back on the wall, on the lift on the platform. I don't know if you talked about this, but there was a huge wasp nest. Like, there were at least a couple hundred, and they were like sleeping. I remember when I was setting up camera, and then Chris told me, like, if you don't feel comfortable, you cannot be back there. And I was like, they're wasps. And then when I saw the nest, I was like, okay, I don't want to be back here at all, because they were all sleeping. It was like 7, 8 a.m. So maybe they were like all still chilling, and then when
getting their coffee for the day,
probably getting to mess
turning
with
on a
people.
morning show,
and then as soon as I was there, I was done setting up camera. I could see the wasps starting to fly away one by one. I'm like, okay, I think it's time for me to go, because I don't want to be here when all of them just decide to fly away and I'm on their path. But yeah, later that day, I think they got rid of them, and nobody got hurt except the wasps, sadly, I guess.
I want to address Will saying "dang it" in the middle of the story. What was that about? What's going on?
Oh, it's just personal issues, I believe.
Personal issues.
Yeah,
You know.
it's just one of those random thoughts that just go through your mind. I'm like,
Yeah,
oh, darn
it's like-
it.
He just now realized since Garrett's here, he can't be a part of Garrett Graham's. Since Garrett's not here, he can't be a part of Garrett Graham's.
I mean, that's true.
Dang it.
But also, never mind.
That's true, but also never mind.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, that's my experience with Wasps and Camera 3. I enjoy running it because it's fun.
Did I ever tell you about the time I hit a wasp nest with a lightsaber in order to dramatize a lightsaber fight?
Oh, you did not. I would like to hear that, please.
Well, it was one day we were on a little vacation in a country house somewhere. I don't remember if it was in America or in a different country, but so me and my little brother were having a lightsaber fight. Right? It was with those like toy lightsabers that you get at Walmart.
Yeah.
Right?
Was it red, blue, green, purple?
Mine was a purple lightsaber.
Whoa.
Windu, Master Windu.
I don't remember what color Joel's was. It might have been a green lightsaber. So I was like, yeah, I was
Okay.
Mace Windu. It was great. And so there was, we were doing a regular lightsaber fight, and then I saw behind me there was a wasp nest.
Yeah.
But I wasn't thinking. I just thought, how can I make this as dramatic as possible? And so I whipped my arm back and hit the wasp nest intentionally. And nothing happened. And then I went and charged at him. And then, Mom was like, coming in and doing the, Linda Flynn Fletcher thing and going, who wants pie? And we were all coming in like, yeah. So we went in. We came out later. Me and Joel went out to have a little adventure on like the railway on the porch. And so we were shimmying our way across that, doing, who knows what. And these wasps just start to come in droves and then surrounded us and just ate us up. Absolutely ate us up. They got
Really?
their full revenge on me, just whacking their home with a lightsaber. And
I mean, I think you would do the same if somebody just destroyed your house.
yeah, I would get a bunch of my friends and I would start,
How many times did you get stung?
Okay.
it must have been something like at least 30 wasps each. Like it was
Right.
huge.
You didn't pass out at all? You just took it all?
We
the
just
pain?
cried a lot.
I bet. Yeah.
I think some got in my little brother's mouth. He had it worse than I did,
no.
but it was just awful.
I had two stories, right? So
Okay.
when I was a kid, there was a beehive hidden in one of the things, and the girls were like, "Oh no, look, there's a beehive there." So I just picked it up and threw it away, right? And like,
Whoa, that's guts.
I didn't know what a bee was yet. It was like 3 years old, right? So I was like, "Why is my arm swelling up so much?" And the teachers, and then I passed out apparently.
Oh no.
And the teachers were all like, "Will, why did you do that?" And I was like, "Cause everyone was screaming about it, so I just threw it away and get it out of here." Second time, I was working out as part of like in 8th grade, right? And a wasp landed on my back, right? And everyone's like, "Will, there's a wasp there." I'm like, "It's not hurting nobody." And then it just popped. It stung me and it just popped. And I
Hey.
was like, "Bro, it didn't even hurt. It didn't sting me at all. It landed on the back of my shirt, right?
Yeah, what'd you ever do to that? Goodness.
I didn't do anything to it. It
who
just
hurt
popped me, and it
Who
was like
hurt the wasp?
the wasp hurt
It just
itself.
needed revenge.
Make it have such.
He was avenging someone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It must have been like those bees all those bees, and I destroyed their home.
Oh yeah, from like way back.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I
Oh,
remember
that's crazy.
him. I don't forget a face. But yeah, I'm still,
I never forget if that was the man.
I'm still traumatized. Did you go to the hospital? Or you just chill at your house?
Oh,
after
I
you
just
got
chilled at the
stung?
church preschool I was at.
Oh, how about you?
Okay, so now that I'm remembering the story, I think a little more vividly.
Yeah.
Turns out I wasn't bit at all or stung at all.
You weren't?
No, I don't think I actually was stung at all. I think all 60 wasps just went like toward my brother,
Is it probably it was like
who didn't do nothing.
you
to the
killed
wa-
my brother because he was in there. Now take yours.
Right? Yeah, it's an honor code. They have an antiquated honor code that we've moved past. Okay, so to wrap up this segment, what technology is involved in the job? If you've been listening to the other podcast episodes where we talk about 3Play and the TriCaster and the X32, we haven't gone over the NC1s. That's one thing. It's just a matter of pressing a button on the NC1. Like there's this whole, master machine. It's a very petite thing. You just press a button on it, and then there are these cameras that are already set up. They're not like JVC cameras. They are
Because security cameras kind of type.
right. Yeah. They're kind of like, they're sort of like GoPros. They're like more advanced GoPros that you like set up.
Yeah.
And you
But you don't
point
move
in
them
one
from there,
thing.
though. Yeah, they
Right.
stay there.
You never move it, and we can't do any irising up or down or.
Replays? I don't know if
well,
we can do replays, actually.
So actually, we figured out a way to do replays on those for baseball. So the reason why you can't do direct like input from an IP camera, which is what we call them, is that they run over NDI. And the 3Play, our machine where we do the replays, only has SDI inputs. So you can only put SDI cables in it. That's fine for cameras 1 and 3, and when we have cameras 2 and 4 set up and we have a full setup, that's fine. But when we're using the IP cameras for cameras 2 and 4, we have some, I forget exactly how it does. Chris has explained this to me multiple times and I just keep forgetting, but there's some way that we convert the NDI input to SDI. And then we put that into 3Play so that there's some sort of, there's a little bit of a delay within 3Play.
Yeah.
But we're still able to run replays on it. And it's very cool.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. I didn't know we'd get that far yet. So we can only do either or? Like either camera 2 or 4 or those cameras?
Actually, we can do all 4.
We can do all 4 now?
Since camera 1 and 3 are direct SDI inputs, and camera 2 and 4 are SDI inputs through this like NDI to SDI converter deal. So we're able to do all 4 since all 4 come in as SDI.
Oh, okay.
To
so
3Play.
I think it'll be better now then.
It's good for simple setups like scrimmages where we don't necessarily need a full setup.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, we had a zinger of a scrimmage this past week, which was the last scrimmage of the series, and both teams really fought for it. I mean,
they went for 14 innings, I heard.
14 innings.
It was the worst. I was there for all 14.
Well, actually, it was 12.
But it was
you
like,
start
come
with
on,
the
it
first
sounds
2
cooler.
innings.
14 innings.
So I gotta say, during baseball games, one thing that we have every once in a while that we play is music. And you know what technology is involved in making music is a computer. And you know who used a computer to make music is this guy named Noise Storm, is his alias. And he made a song called Barracuda, and the genre of that song is breakbeat, and for short, it's breaks. And that is all to say, we're gonna take one. When we come back, we're going to be talking about unspoken or given rules about this job. We're kind of going to get into it a little bit, and it's going to be a fun time. We're going to have a nice alcohol-free party, and it's gonna, unless Rodrigo, you're hiding something under the table.
We're just gonna get drunk on orange juice.
Drunk on orange juice. That's the name of my new indie band.
Drunk on orange juice.
Yeah.
So that's a great transition into our break. Let's take it now.
And we are back to Auto In. We are in the second segment of the 10th episode. We didn't know if we would get here. We honestly sat down.
We knew.
We sat down and we said, I just got to be honest. I don't know that this episode is going to last until the second segment. And
we made it.
Yeah, I think many of our viewers thought that as well. And for the doubters out there, thanks for tuning in anyway. I appreciate that. Today, we're going to be getting more into production assistants. First of all, we can knock this question out of the way. Who is the go-to person for production assistant? And the answer is that's kind of a non sequitur. I mean, anybody who is not a senior producer or Chris is a production assistant if
So
they
that
are a
would
student
be
worker.
On our team, it would definitely be not Caleb, Morgan, or Harrison.
Correct.
Yeah.
There are producers. Morgan works planning center.
Tag each other on that.
Yeah. Morgan goes, tag, you're it.
Yeah.
And Caleb goes, ha, tag, you're it. And Morgan
Okay.
goes, ha, no tag backs.
Whoever gets to it first.
It's great. Did you guys ever play imaginary games as a kid? 'Cause
No.
I totally did. Where you just like went through a whole story and you just pretended you were like characters in a story.
I mean, I'll just, with my little toys, I will just recreate battles mostly because I was a big fan of Lord of the Rings.
Did you have any friends as a child?
Oh, I did.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So, I mean, that was when I didn't have them. With my friends, we would just go play soccer or basketball, sometimes tennis. We were the sporty type. So, but if they weren't there, or they weren't like it was a rainy day or something, we'll either play video games or I would just play with my toys.
I was really big into Spider-Man. You know, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah.
So I had the silly string shooter thing.
Yeah.
From that you would shoot out, and from the way it made it looked like you could use it to actually swing. So whenever we went to our grandmother's house, where there was woods and stuff, I would actually like shoot it at the tree, and I did fall out of a tree.
No.
Yeah.
That's awful.
I was so obsessed with it that like I was like, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna make a museum of every single Spider-Man toy we can find on the market right now.
How many Spider-Man dolls do you have?
Like none.
None?
Yeah.
You can't make a
I just was
museum
like,
with.
this is crazy.
It was a dream that never came
It was a
true.
dream that was never came to fruition.
I'm just thinking about a bunch of people who are thinking of building a museum, and then they sit down at a meeting and go, here's what I'm thinking. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah. So anyways, also I was a huge fan of Toy Story. So,
For
I
good
still
reason.
believe my toys come to life when I'm not there.
yeah, I'm glad I locked those things in the attic.
And they can't leave because they know you'll know they're alive.
I'll know which ones. I've memorized every single one. So they'll
They
know.
know.
If they leave, I'll know.
They know what you did to the bees when you were 3, and they said if he does that, we cannot let him do that to us. And so they're
Like
they're
get stung by
sharpening.
bees?
No, throw us away.
Yeah.
So they're sharpening their weapons. They're about to.
How long they've been in there?
10 years,
They're
maybe?
probably gone by now. Probably
I don't
just
know.
took a hike.
Yeah.
Are you talking about like permanently?
Permanently.
Like,
They probably just escaped.
I mean, if they all left
Oh,
at once,
that's
there's
what
not
you
much
meant.
I could do about it. Like,
I think Will might be the most likely out of all of us, just from what I'm hearing right now, to become Sid.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
it's probably
Just like,
true.
like bring the light up to like the. What all did Sid do? It's been a long
He
time.
blew up he had
That's
fireworks
true.
and he blew up a G.I. Joe,
Oh, he did.
and he also like strapped a rocket to Buzz Lightyear, which is kind of cool, to be honest.
But
Like,
that's what made it interesting.
yeah, I know it's cool that he like straight up wanted to send his toy into space, but I know it was a firecracker, so it was gonna blow up. So I mean, that's cool
Play
too.
nice
To
boy.
another dimension might as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would have been funnier if it was Woody strapped to the rocket. And
I guess you can rewrite that.
yeah, I know we couldn't, but I don't think
Speaking-
we have the time or energy to do that.
Yeah. Well, speaking of getting strapped to a rocket, what are some given or unspoken rules about being a production assistant?
Cameras, taping, cables.
Yes.
Like it's very important. Even though they not tell you, you should know to tape mostly fiber. Fiber should be an important thing to tape so it doesn't bend or somebody steps on it or it gets broken or whatnot. That's mostly important in during basketball season and camera too.
Yeah.
That you're walking around, literally you have the camera on your shoulder and somebody else carrying the cable. But I mean, you have cheerleaders, you have fans, you have kids, you have players, because you're right there in the court. I mean, I've been so many times players will just come and bump off me while I'm with the camera. So it's important to always tape down. And it's easy to forget. I'm not going to lie. I've forgotten a couple times, once or twice, but nothing has happened, luckily. What's another spunken rule?
I do want to say that sometimes we lock off cameras that include cables. And if you, especially in basketball, sometimes we will have a smaller crew. And so we'll lock off camera 3, which means we will set it in a particular position. Why did I say particular position? Like they does a bunch of pops on the in a specific position, and then it still has a P in it. You know what? Forget it. And so
A special?
gaff taping the cables is very important because you'll have kids, running around. They could trip on the cables and
Just take the whole camera with them.
If you don't know how to do something, go to the senior producer.
Oh yeah.
or the person in charge, which is usually Harrison, Caleb, or Chris or Morgan.
As of now.
As but
people
like,
get
that's
phased
subject
out.
to change.
People just keep leaving,
Yeah.
going away. It used to be Selena and Kelly.
Then
and
I don't know who
I don't
before.
know. Those are the only ones that left that I was here.
Yeah. How far do you think you could get away? I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that.
Whenever I think of you, I often think of the Michael Scott quote where he goes, sometimes I just start a sentence and I don't know where it's going. I just hope I find it along the way.
You have no idea how high I can fly.
I'm going to be honest. I've seen maybe like 1 or 2 full episodes of The Office.
Really?
I've seen clips here and there and I've heard it's good.
That's weird
I've seen
because
it all the way maybe 3 times.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a big thing here.
I own The Office on DVD, so the whole thing. And so it's very funny. I suggest it as like a benchmark viewing for anybody who likes comedy, right? And see how, I don't know, if we're doing a TED Talk on it, I would suggest it for how a show like comes into power, then falls after just one person leaves, right?
I mean, I think Dwight kept the show going.
Dwight
well.
did carry the show but he
I
did
don't know.
not.
I still liked it. I still liked it the last 2 seasons. But
The
yeah,
only-
now that you say it, it's a big thing here at DBU. I never noticed, but I think
Yeah.
everybody at DBU is just a diehard fan for The Office.
What I would suggest to everybody to watch is Community.
Yes.
Yes,
I
it
like
is
that show, too.
much-
Absolutely.
I find it a lot more like entertaining sometimes than The Office, but I mean The Office just is like, whoa, that's big here. Also, don't watch Parks and Rec, to be honest.
I like Parks and Rec against whatever you're saying. I liked it a little bit more than The Office.
I can only say there are
Ooh.
2 or 3 really truly great characters on that show. Ron Swanson, Andy Dwyer, and April Ludgate.
I disagree with you.
I will not. I can't stand. What's his name? Aziz Ansari's character, Tom. Yeah, I can't do that guy. I will say my favorite episode of his is definitely Entertainment 720.
Yeah.
But everything else is just like, bruh, you're working in a middle position in a parks department. What are you doing here, buddy? I mean, Ron has the right idea in like, I don't really care about
Dissolve the government from within.
Dissolve the government from within. Yeah.
So there are many things in life that are hard. For Will, it is hard to enjoy Parks and Rec. For Rodrigo, it is hard to believe that Will does not enjoy Parks and Rec. And what about, for example, I don't know, being a production assistant? Is that hard, do you think?
No.
I mean,
Wait, yes.
it could be, could not be. Depends what day you're having, because some days are just long, because we have to be here from sunrise till dawn, right?
No.
Till downfall.
Saturdays.
Not during the summer, at least, like or like fall, when the sun like rises at 7:30 and the sun sets at like 8:30.
We're about to do that, like the daylight savings
We
on
are?
Sunday. Yeah,
Are we about to do
Are we
daylight
jumping
saving?
or forward or
Yeah.
backwards?
I think we're going forward an hour.
Let me see.
Fall
Backwards
back
an hour.
and
I think we
spring
fall back an
forward.
hour.
So yeah.
So we're going backward.
We're
now.
going back an hour.
So now we get
so
the extra hour of sleep.
Yes.
So right now,
Right?
if it was
Yes.
daylight savings time right now, it would be like 3:30.
If right now, yes.
Bruh,
What?
that's clutch.
I don't know.
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's one good thing to bring up is that being a production assistant many times is just as hard as you make it. If you don't ask any questions, if you don't put any effort into learning, the aspects of broadcast that you're being taught, if you don't seek out knowledge, then it will be very hard for you because you'll be expected to do things that you don't know how to do yet. And if you're just kind of standing there and if you don't know how to do it, ask questions. That's a huge thing that we brought up last episode that Harrison brought up is ask questions if you don't know what you're doing. If you ask questions, then you will find the answers. If you ask someone and they don't know the answer, ask someone else. Because at the end of the day, if you're expected to do something, you gotta do it. And if you don't know how to do it, there is a very, very good chance that someone there knows how to do it. If nobody's there, text someone. There's a lot of different, and or call
Google
someone.
it.
Or Google it. Like
Google it.
there are so many ways that you can learn how to how to do it. And one thing, admittedly, that that brought down my that made the job harder for me for a good long while is I was too timid to ask any questions. And so because I didn't ask any questions, I didn't learn, and so I couldn't do what was expected of me. And if something is explained to you and you still don't know it, like you forget the explanation or it stops making sense to you or you have another question or things like that, ask again. Chris and the senior producers and actually everyone around you, even the other production assistants, would really love for you to know your stuff if you are a production assistant and you only get there by A, getting thrown into it, and B, asking questions. And so that's, I think, that's one thing that will make this job easier for you more than any other thing is
that way you can
ask questions
set up
for real.
faster, easier,
It makes everything easier.
Everything goes smooth.
It's just like sometimes it just doesn't make sense to me sometimes, so I always have to ask questions even now, and it's been like a year and a half I believe, right?
I feel
Since
you. I feel you.
I'm sorry, I was laughing over here because Rodrigo and Will were like fighting over who was going to say the exact same thing. So they were like talking over each
Will
other.
won, I guess.
Yeah, Will won.
He had the final word.
We are about to take a break, and when we come back, we're getting to some Q&A, and we're gonna bring back a news piece. And this one's a pretty juicy one. We haven't done a news piece since episode 5, maybe with Austin, but this is gonna be a good one. So stay tuned. And we're back to Auto In, and we're really excited to get into these questions. How excited are you guys to get into these questions on a scale of 1 to 13 and a half?
Maybe 7.3.
Negative
okay.
8.
You like hit the exact middle of that, I think.
I did the quick math.
No, the middle would be
2
something like
plus 3. Quick math.
16.3.
I just mumble a number.
Okay, well, our first question comes from Melinda from Hattiesburg, Mississippi, and this may be a long conversation, or it may be a short conversation.
How do you spell Mississippi? Mississippi?
Correct.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, hey, English isn't even your first language. You know?
It's
That was
like
crazy.
isn't it that? Never mind. Don't worry about it.
Anyway,
Okay.
Ask away.
Well, Melinda from Hattiesburg, Mississippi asks, are hamburgers and hot dogs sandwiches?
Ooh. Yes.
All right.
I think they are. I mean,
Will?
it's a bun.
I'm thinking.
Okay.
He's savoring it mostly.
Well, is there wheat in a bun?
Yeah.
Yeah,
could be.
there's wheat in all bread.
Yeah, you can have wheat hot dog buns and hamburger buns.
That's the ingredient
I'm
that mainly
calculating
makes
right
up
now.
bread.
Will's brain
Is there any maize in corn?
Maize? I wonder what
I will
maize
probably
is.
I will probably go with perhaps.
Perhaps.
Okay, you're a more middle ground position.
Yeah.
I can see like you don't want to.
Perfectly
classify a
balanced
burger
as whole
as a-
thing should be.
It seems like there is a difference between I'm going to say no actually.
Oh, okay.
Because now that I think about it, it's not dependent on the bread. It's dependent on the meat. Right?
Okay.
And I think it's because that both hot dogs and hamburgers are cooked differently from any type of meat you put on.
I've had a meat sandwich.
See, when you think of a sandwich, though,
and a sausage sandwich too.
right? But the thing is, when you cook a hot dog or a hamburger, there's a different way to make a hot dog and a hamburger. They're cooked differently than like if you. So when I think of a sandwich, I think of just getting cold meat, slapping it on there, and calling it a day, right? So
You eat those kinds of sandwiches?
Yeah, I love them.
I at least microwave mine.
Yeah, no.
Goodness gracious. I would maybe eat tuna cold.
I get in trouble if I microwave my sandwiches. They actually bought me a sandwich maker, so I don't do that anymore.
Oh.
So that's why I'm saying that
They're like, that is
hamburgers.
disgusting. Here's your
Are you
sandwich."
serious?
Yeah, I like it. I don't
Me
care.
too.
But
See-
the future missus, she's like, mm-mm.
The difference for me is that the hot dog buns on both are just made completely differently than any other sandwich.
Still bread though.
Yeah,
Sure.
you said it
Just
wasn't
shapely
dependent on the
different.
bread.
It's not dependent on the bread, and it's also dependent on the meat. And the meat is really where it sets it apart. Usually, it's whenever I think of it a sandwich, it's always cold. It doesn't require.
Wait, you have a cold sandwich?
You always eat a cold sandwich,
What
right?
is wrong with you?
Okay, so
were
grilled-
you not loved growing up, man? You
Well-
had a grilled cheese.
Well,
that's grilled
let's hold up.
cheese.
This
It's
is
not
what
Still a sandwich,
No, it
and
isn't.
it is warm.
It
It's
is
cheese
warm.
between buns.
But the problem with that is it's cooked differently. You have to cook it.
I think I'll
that's
serve-
the,
I'll
that's the
serve
difference.
the-
You have to cook a burger. You can't.
I eat
You
it
don't.
raw,
you make
man.
a sandwich.
I eat a raw meat.
You have to cook a burger. You have to make a sandwich. There's a difference because at the end of the day, one is going to take a lot less prep time than the other.
I mean, I can give you the prep time, but it's the same means end.
What?
It's the same means. Like,
Sure, but
It's just
but it's
different
also
time
in the
period.
cooking of it.
it's still a sandwich.
Okay, I
It
think
is-
I will
it's
serve as the
not.
moderator for this debate because I think these roles just kind of organically came up. Let me ask Will a question first. Will, so let's take a great value, square piece of white bread.
Mm-hmm.
Put a bratwurst in the middle and fold the sides over. Is it a hot dog or a sandwich?
It would be. That is a perplexing question.
But it's not dependent on the bread.
Yes, I would call it a hot dog before I would call it a sandwich because to make it a hot dog, you would actually have to cook that bratwurst. Unlike if it was just like some ham or some turkey, you wouldn't have to cook it.
You can
Right.
have a salami sandwich too. It's meat.
Sure,
It's
whatever
cold meat.
whatever lunch meat you want to put on there, that's a sandwich. It's all dependent on the meat of it, I believe.
I don't know.
Okay, and the temperature of the meat too.
The temperature
it has
of
to
the
be
meat, it
cold
has
in
to
order
be
for it to be a
cooked.
sandwich.
No, it doesn't have to be cold. I'm just saying that if you are going to make a sandwich, you're using a certain type of meat, right? Which lunch meat, as you would call it. I mean, that's not all ham is lunch meat, right? And not all turkey is lunch meat, and not
Right.
all ham.
It's 12 o'clock
Yeah.
somewhere always. So.
Right, but the problem is you're not cooking the meat. It's pre-packaged, right? When you're putting it in on that burger. Or not on that.
Oh no! I
It
slipped.
is.
No, it's
there. It.
if you're putting it on that sandwich,
You just contradicted yourself.
that's
man.
just no.
You just contradicted yourself.
I'm
Next
just saying-
question.
Oh no!
Next question.
Well, I do have a question for Rodrigo. So how would you define a sandwich?
just whatever goes in between buns. Doesn't matter what kind of bread. If it goes between buns,
It's a very liberal use of the.
Okay, so a hamburger would be a sandwich.
it is indeed. It would
Hot
just have
dog would be a
different
sandwich.
names, you know.
So a soft taco would be a sandwich.
Well,
That
that is
what
not,
that does count.
Just because it's made from the same product,
It's
not.
named from the same stuff. At
Oh,
the
but
base
they're not
level,
different though.
But they're not buns.
They're not buns. They are tortillas.
But
so
they
would you
are made from flour. It's the same.
so
on the
would you
same
call
level.
a square piece of
But there's
white
no yeast.
bread? Would you
It's
put a
still a bread.
There's no yeast.
Well, what did Jesus break at the table?
I wasn't there.
Well, it was bread,
So okay,
and
square
it looked like quesadillas from when I was watching the Bible.
Oh, you were
on
watching
History
it.
Channel.
You just like
okay, so a square piece of white bread, right?
yeah.
Would you call those buns?
Yes.
Ooh, okay.
I think everything that's bread made will be buns, and everything goes between them is a sandwich.
But
No
a
matter if it's
tortilla bread,
bagel,
not a bun.
Not a bun. No yeast.
I'm sorry.
So
I have to
quesadillas are
disagree.
not a sandwich.
No. They're own.
I have
their
to.
own
I
thing.
have to disagree. That is basic. Quesadillas are just basically Mexican grilled cheese.
exactly with your it's the same with the grilled
It's
cheese.
exactly I'm saying.
And you're saying that grilled cheese is not a sandwich.
grilled cheese is not a sandwich because you actually have to cook it. It's the cook and the prep time and all that.
You can have your grilled cheese with cold cheese too.
I'm not going to make a sandwich that is like, I'm not going to make a sandwich that is going to take forever to make. I'm not going to make
It's 5 minutes.
But I'm not making this Scooby-Doo looking sandwich. Look, at that point, it's just not worth it.
It is worth it, man. Waiting is worth it.
It's not worth it. The burger takes time. You have to season the meat. You have to put effort into making a burger.
You can put an effort on doing a sandwich too.
Right, but at that point it becomes like Scooby-Doo. I'm gonna eat this like Mile High sandwich in like one gulp, and it's like
still a sandwich.
It's still a
they
sandwich.
Will make their like a mile long sandwich, but
close,
it's still
dangerously
sandwich.
close to burger territory or hot dog.
There's
territory.
a bun at the bottom, there's a bun at the top, still a sandwich.
Oh my gosh, sure, right. You can stack different meats, sure, but at the end of the day, because of prep time, it will still be a sandwich.
So prep time,
sure.
so a
I think
certain
it's
prep time
for him and the coldness of the
And the
meat.
cooking.
And the cooking
okay,
of the
so
meat.
so prep time, the time that it takes to prep a sandwich determines whether or not it is a sandwich.
Yes.
So how long does it have to be before it stops becoming a sandwich?
So a
See,
3-minute sandwich at the thing like
Not 3 minutes.
however long
It has
it
to
takes
be
to
at
put the
least
ingredients.
30 minutes to have a full, if you're going from scratch.
It has to have at least 30 minutes of prep time in order to be a sandwich.
Right.
Okay,
See,
so
I
if
would
you
consider Chick-fil-A's chicken sandwich to be more of a burger or a chicken.
It's
a
literally
burger.
called a chicken sandwich.
okay, well, it takes less than 30 minutes for
It's
a
not a
Chick-fil-A.
chicken
It's
sandwich.
literally called
You can call
a
it
chicken
that.
sandwich.
That's a good
it's
branding.
right there. It's
No,
right there.
it's
Chicken
not-
sandwich.
no.
Well, let's zone in on this. Okay, so Chick-fil-A sandwiches take less than 30 minutes to prepare. Are they still sandwich? Or no, you said they're burgers.
Right. No, the second part of my qualification is
Okay.
cooking. Right. So you have to cook the chicken in a Chick-fil-A sandwich, right?
Okay.
But what is between that chicken? Actually, not between.
What is
By the way,
between
you just called it a
chicken?
sandwich,
Where'd
but
the
Protein.
chicken go? What is the chicken between them? Those buns, man.
Sure, but I'd say it's closer to a chicken burger than it is a
Still, it's a
sandwich.
chicken sandwich.
Okay, so
chicken
since
sandwich.
it has to take at least 30 minutes to
That's
prepare
branding, man,
in
as
order
well.
for it to be a sandwich. So let's say you take two, I'm going to use the great value white slices of bread again.
Again, also on that Chick-fil-A sandwich, straight up.
No, we're done with Chick-fil-A.
No, we aren't. We aren't. Look, here's the thing. When making the Chick-fil-A sandwich, if you have all the ingredients, it's going to take you a little bit more than 30 minutes to put that whole Chick-fil-A sandwich together beforehand. I'm saying this is like from scratch. You don't work at Chick-fil-A in this scenario, right? It would take you at least 30 minutes to get all the ingredients to make their chicken weird, the peanut oil that they dip it in. I mean, it's a lot of stuff.
Okay, so final question before we get to the news piece. Let's say I get two great value slices of white bread.
Mm-hmm.
I put lunch meat in it, right?
It's
And a piece of
automatically-
cheese,
Yeah.
and then I eat it.
Yeah.
Is it a sandwich?
Yes.
But it takes less than 30 minutes to prepare. It takes about 5 seconds to prepare.
What's your question? I'm saying that a burger takes more than 30 minutes to prepare.
Still a sandwich. Different name.
Oh, you said okay. What I understood was I thought you said a sandwich
No, a
took
sandwich
at least
takes
30
less
minutes.
than 30 minutes.
Okay, so my question is how long does a sandwich have to take to make in order for it to become a sandwich? To be a sandwich?
See, I think you can have an infinite amount of time to make a sandwich, right?
Oh, okay.
Wait.
But the problem is
So,
the main requirement
Again,
is the cooking.
contradicting yourself.
You have to
There's an
cook.
indefinite time, and you're saying it doesn't matter how long it takes, but you can take 30 minutes, but it's not a sandwich?
I can go like a snail's pace and put together a sandwich, and that would take me an hour to 2 hours, but it's still a sandwich
Who
at
would
the end of the
take
day.
that long to make a cold sandwich an
I
hour?
don't know. Franklin the turtle, I guess. I don't know.
Frank
Straight
the
up,
Turtle was chubby. That guy will eat fast, man.
sure, I believe that. But the problem is, at the end of the day, the sandwich is not cooked, and that is the main qualification. Sure, you can say the Chick-fil-A sandwich is cooked, but you can say that.
I give you now 15 seconds. Go.
Okay, at the end of the day, The main requirement to qualify for being a burger is it is cooked. Time second, third quality. There's no quality in a sandwich. There you go.
All right.
So yes, I believe that a burger.
No, your time is up now. Okay, so this is actually very fitting because our news piece here.
Hold on, you didn't give Rodrigo time to.
It's okay. I don't want to.
He rests his case because,
I rest my case.
like,
I will fight you, man. But another day.
Yeah. Okay, so our news piece has to do with sandwiches. In fact, Chris 4 has now entered the kind of taunting back and forth that Austin and Caleb have been doing about their grilled cheese sandwiches. And so could a tournament be starting up? I don't know. What do you guys think?
I will accept that challenge.
Oh, are you entering it too?
I want to enter that challenge more than a grilled cheese, but I will love to enter that challenge.
Could I actually fight you on the quesadilla front?
No.
No.
It has to be a grilled cheese sandwich. Okay. unless you can make
we're back on the sandwich thing.
No, not for long. But here's the thing: if you can enter into the competition somehow and just say you're going to make a grilled cheese sandwich, but then you make quesadillas and make a convincing argument that quesadillas are Mexican grilled cheese sandwiches, then if you can convince them, you might have a chance.
Exactly.
We'll let the people decide.
You will not. You'll be blown away. I am allowed to use outside recipes.
You'll be embarrassed.
All right. Well, for the record, just to make it even, I would also like to join in because I've been making grilled cheese sandwiches.
Your whole life?
Yeah. Well, yes. I mean, at least half my life. I've gotten before that my grilled cheese sandwich has been the best grilled cheese sandwich that one of my, customers, quote unquote, has ever eaten.
What type of cheese do you use?
Well, I'm not going to give that away.
Yeah,
it's a simple question. I think that
indeed it's a simple question. I'm not going to answer.
Now on a grilled cheese, since it's not in my category, American is the best for a grilled cheese sandwich. What do you think?
Well, no, but we'll argue.
Yeah,
because American cheese is not the best cheese.
That'll be next time Rodrigo comes onto the podcast.
Cheese for anything.
I agree to disagree. Continue.
Okay. All right. Well, we got that squared away in a very satisfying way. We really didn't get it squared away in a very satisfying way, but Rodrigo has to go. So any last words before we just jump into the outro? Thank you for coming on the show, by the way, Rodrigo.
No problem. Anytime I can talk about being an assistant producer and sandwiches. Any type of sandwich between a bun, it's a sandwich.
Yep, we love being production assistants and being sandwiches. We love both of those things. Will, you got anything else? No, you know what? You're gonna get us on a whole tangent, so I'm not gonna let you speak.
Wait. I want to get back to the sandwich debate real quick.
No.
One last thing to say.
No. This has been Auto In, hosted by Seth Kelly and Will Moulton with special guest Rodrigo Reyes. With music produced and performed by Jesse Liked and logo designed by John Brazino. Thank you for listening and see you next week. Auto out.